Welcome, Bruno.
Hi,
So
Bruno.
excited to be introducing you again, coming back to Wedding Celebration for the second time for the webinar. And this time you came in person to the Big Island to be part of the live event. And we were able to capture some of the moments of you exploring the island and looking at the products, how they grow in person. So my question to you is, how did you find your in-person adventure on the Big Island this time around?
I found it very inspiring. It's very inspiring to see how everything grows in nature, and then how you can replicate it when you actually design. So it was, and just the scale of the plants and just how different plants grew with each other. It was fascinating to see in person.
So should we go ahead and share the video and see what you did?
Absolutely, I think that's exciting.
Okay, let's roll it.
My name is Bruno Duarte from Toronto, and I am in Hawaii. And we are at the Botanical Garden, and I'm just so excited to see what we find today.
Hello, I'm Braden. This is the Hawaii Tropical Bioreserve, as Bruno said there. And we were established in 1978, and we've been company over here for about 50 years coming up on there. And you'll see we'll end up with ocean views, amazing vistas, just waterfalls, absolutely gorgeous and beautiful place. And I'm very excited to take Bruno through here today. Yeah, and so this is the beginning of the walk down here. Yeah. And you can see this is our founder's moat totem here.
I love it.
Yes, yeah, Dan J. Lukenhouse. He's one who really put this whole thing together.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you obviously love plants.
Oh, yes, no doubt. Yeah, he flew all around the world collecting his favorite things and brought them back in here.
I'm just amazed at how all the plants that grow up the trees.
Yes.
And it's how it all fills in. It's such a cool like visual. It's like I'm like, as a designer, it's like, oh, I could do that.
Yeah.
Just look at what nature's doing, and then you can just replicate it.
Oh yeah, you may recognize
and you learn some things because like just watch what Mother Nature does. Yeah. This bamboo is amazing.
Oh yes, this is our beachy bamboo here. Yeah, these absolutely thrive, and you may even recognize some of these fellows, such as these pothos that grow here.
Oh yes.
Yeah, they're you'll find these in a Home Depot pot, like about this big, but here they get a lot more. And you can see this boardwalk here. This was probably the thing that keeps the whole garden together there.
And it's so spectacular. It's like it's paradise.
Yes,
right?
yeah, you're walking down into it. Perfect. Yeah, and you'll see these are some of our favorites here coming up. There's the beehive ginger. Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah, they all come from a rhizome there, and it's interesting. A lot of the ginger plants, they'll only flower once, and then they'll pass away after that, and then they'll just continue the cycle over and over again. But you get one flower from them, and then essentially you're restarting. You'll find that it's these gingers, especially these Melee roses here.
Oh, I've never seen those.
Yeah, so all these strange structures, they are
actual ginger, or is that the seed pod?
So that's the flower essentially. So it's interesting with ginger. It's actually a brat is what all these strange shapes are. You'll even see it with these heliconia up here. Okay. And they're actually protection. It's not the flower itself. The flowers are really minuscule. So it's that little,
the little thing. Sometimes you see it inside, like basically inside here. You see that's the flower. But that's cool.
So this is all armor essentially. Just making sure they don't blow in. Yeah, and you see a lot of these Alexandria palms. You'll find a lot of these are all decorated throughout the garden. And the reason is at one point this garden was completely clear cut, and so there was nothing.
So there was nothing here, and then it just kind of built. That's incredible.
Yeah, and so that's a big part of why these tall palm trees are planted everywhere.
Can I ask you, what is this? I just noticed it today with the white flower.
With the white. Oh, so this is a costus, and these are interesting because the way you can identify them is their leaves are always in a spiral going up there.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and it's a similar one. So this is all its bract, except these ones are much more extravagant flowers. So this will be the only set of flowers it has in its whole lifespan there. And eventually new costus are gonna grow out of here. It's gonna all fall down to the ground and we'll begin the process.
It almost looks like an orchid floating on top of it, exactly. Right? It's just it really caught my eye this morning when we were driving. I'm like, I need to ask what that is. And I'm like,
perfect. You see more of our endangered birds' nests. These are the much more ones that
Why are they endangered?
So
this is absolutely like this is art in itself. It's like
Yeah, so they're native to the New Caledonia region in Australia there, and just their habitat has had a lot of invasive species that have come through, and so it's been really aggressive on their natural habitat. So you're actually more likely to find one in Hawaii or even like in Chinese area, as opposed to its native region, because everything there is just so aggressive and really takes over.
It's incredible, incredible.
Red Medinilla here, so you can see that flower in the back there.
It's like a piece of jewelry.
And these ones, they're actually a common houseplant you can get at your, mind you, they don't get nearly this large, but.
I've seen this, and it's usually a pink flower.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
So this is a different variety. That's incredible.
Yeah, we'll likely see a lot of the ones you're used to as we walk through here.
Okay. Oh my goodness. Incredible.
Yeah, you'll find you're gonna stumble across a lot of heliconia coming through here. We have a passion for them.
Yes, and also just the scale of the flowers is just like to be in. It's just like what? I'm getting goosebumps just being here. It's kind of incredible.
Yes, I'd love to hear that.
Yes. Yeah. No, it's kind of. Oh my goodness.
This is one of my favorite parts of the garden here.
Oh, wow. Incredible. And then the banyan.
Oh yes, you can't go wrong with the banyan.
And the thing about the banyan that I've noticed being here is how many interesting plants actually growing on there.
Oh yes, yeah.
It's the variety of different plants. It's like it's such a great house for so many different vegetation.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, as you're saying with texture there, like so you see so many spots where plants can really attach there and continue thriving.
Yeah, and then also the lines of so many roots.
Yeah.
Right? It's just that sort of thing, and then you have it's gorgeous. Absolutely,
That's a great observation actually there. Yeah, then we have our torch ginger here. These ones are.
And I hear this is an invasive species.
Yes, that's a white ginger.
White ginger, so it has been brought in.
Yes,
right? And then and it's taken over.
Yeah, especially at the National Volcano Park.
Yeah,
there.
okay.
Yeah.
And how are you going? How is like the country going to kind of keep it under wraps?
So it's a bit difficult. It comes down to conservation is the most part. At this point, it's cemented on the island. It's probably not going to go away anytime soon. So it's really about eradicating how it reproduces more, and keeping it contained in
kind of living with it, but keeping it.
Yeah, because
like this, like really.
It's one of the largest flowering gingers in the world. There.
Well, you can see, look at the weight.
Yes. Yeah, and that's comes back to eventually new ginger are going to be sprouting out of this here. And so this weight, it just keeps on getting heavier and heavier. It hits the ground, and you're going to get about 10 new ginger just all.
Are you serious?
From there. Yes. Yeah, so it's almost like a pregnant plant, essentially.
It's like, and the baby.
Yes.
Incredible. Okay, what are these?
So this is another banyan here.
Really?
Yes, yeah, and so you'll see eventually if these roots touch the ground, they'll just start sprouting up more banyan essentially. So that's why those banyan are so thick, because actually just these roots continuously hitting the ground over and over again, and eventually they all just clump together.
That's incredible, absolutely incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, I can get a little George of the jungle.
Yeah.
That's why we tie them up.
Yeah, because I'm sure with lots of people coming through.
Yes, especially the kids. First thing they see.
It's like,
This is one I'm certain that you'll enjoy up here. Is our monstera. It's growing off.
Look at those roots.
Okay.
Oh my God. Look at the length of those roots.
Yeah.
See, this is why I love this material so much, because it's such length. So that when I'm creating structure, it takes hardly no time, because you're just continuing and just attaching them together. So you kind of have this amazing. To see it in its natural habitat, it's kind of spectacular.
It's awesome. I'm happy. Yeah, and you see they just climb up that ulu like all the way up to from ground to canopy there. And
well, and also the size of the monstera leaves.
Yeah, incredible.
Yeah. And a lot of people will not believe that actually that's what the roots actually do in its natural habitat. Because in a houseplant, you never get the length, right?
Doubt.
So it's like you never even see sometimes the roots. But to see how when it gets in its natural habitat, that's why it gets its moisture.
Yes.
Right? So it's kind of amazing. Well, Brendan, this has been the most magical morning I've spent.
Oh, yeah, I'm
this,
very happy to show you around.
Thank you for all.
Yeah, and then here's those Metanoa. These ones may be the more familiar.
The color is just outstanding.
Yeah, and you can even tell what cycle of its life. So these ones are pretty much ready to reproduce once they get that dark purple. But these pink, that means this one is fresh and really new there.
So that will go to this.
Yes, there. Yeah, so you get the full range of color, right?
Yeah,
You get pink, purple, and everything in between.
That's incredible. As a designer, that is just another level. Right? Because it's like, oh, what stage do I want the flower at?
Yeah, it's very nice to get a lot of pictures there.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I want the purple. Can you pick it later?
Yes.
This is cool. The shape of this, I've never seen it.
Yeah, you have a great eye because
I've
this
never
is
seen it.
Extremely endangered species here too, and like all the things you've mentioned, like, even with the banyan there, like they're very great observations.
Yeah.
You have an eye for this.
No, well, it's one of those things. Like I always like things that are unusual.
Yes.
And it's like it's something that I haven't seen before because you see this sort of like the fan palm, but you see it in a different shape. I never seen it growing in almost like a diamond shape.
Yeah.
Right. It's like does that exist? Did somebody cut it, or does it grow like that? This is beautiful. This purple.
Oh yes, that's our blue ginger there. Yeah, it's
that's the ginger.
Yeah, so it's actually it is an invasive species. It's in danger with the white ginger there. It's just pretty much as equal of a threat.
But this one hasn't taken over on the island.
Yeah, no, yeah. So this one, it's gotten to our area like Hilo. It will have it going around.
Okay.
But, yeah, you'll find down in these valleys especially, they'll just take over. So we wait for them to stop flowering.
So do they kill other because they're invasive? Do they kill other plants or just kind of?
It's more so they just take up so much space. So, like you can see that whole clump back there.
Okay.
Once they get going, they'll just keep. They won't let anything. They'll drown out everything beneath it there.
Okay.
Yes, this is the lake we were talking about here.
This. What? These leaves.
Oh yes, this is the queen anthurium.
Just need one. They won't miss it, right? They're long lasting.
Yeah. So these ones, these are a prize. They're very common. You'll find they're commonly sought out. Maybe not so common in themselves.
How big is the actual botanical garden?
So it's 17 acres total.
17 acres. Okay.
Yeah, and it's about 1.25 miles of actual trail that we walk here.
We've actually when we drive up there, when you're looking down, you see this area.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's like it's really cool to be actually be. Oh wow.
Yeah. It's
wow. That's
words can never do it justice.
And I'll just stay here all day. Oh, this is incredible.
Yeah, so this is absolutely incredible. You'll find a lot of
outstanding, and also just have the rock formation, and with all the greenery growing on it, and then you have the color of the water. It's
yeah, and it's just purely wild over there. Like a lot of native birds are known to hold up in this area.
Okay.
Because nothing else can really get to it. It's tough for a cat to get out there.
Yeah. Thank you, Braden, for this most amazing experience and kind of taking me around and showing me all these amazing plants and just the expanse of this experience has been incredible. Yes. So, but if somebody is coming to the botanical garden, how can they get this sort of experience where you can have somebody to walk around and get this knowledge? Is that
yeah. So we're located just north of Hilo there, and you can find out more at htbg.com. And if you come with a private tour and you book one with that, I'd be happy to walk you around there and show you a bit of the garden.
Worth it. Totally worth it.
Yeah, just follow us on the scenic point and you'll stumble across the garden undoubtedly and stumble across this paradise here.
Welcome to Wedding Celebrations in Hilo, Hawaii. I'm going to show you some of the designs that I created for wedding celebrations with some of the amazing products that we find here in Hawaii that we also saw at the botanical gardens, like monstera roots, banyan roots, some passion vine. So I'm going to talk about this passion vine bowl that I created. I love the palm stem. That was the main inspiration. So I decided to drill into it, insert the wires, and then attach my vine into the wires and kind of bring it up. And then I added basically a small test tube so that I can put the orchids kind of dancing on top. It almost looks like a ring of fire. And then in the center, just kind of bring your visual into the center of the bowl. I put 3 lady slipper orchids, which is one of my favorite flowers, with some Asclepia pods, just for interest and kind of visual depth. These next series of designs, I kind of used the monstera root as my main structure element. This design I drilled into the eucalyptus trunk. I love the eucalyptus trunk because it's heavy, so it gives you a nice sturdy base, and then built it with the wires. As you can see, the binding point here is where I kind of binded all the monstera. And then on top, I created a tatami disc with the passion vine, and then inserted large test tubes, attached a gorgeous bromeliad on the side, and again, kind of to keep the disc up, I kind of did some wires to elevate it. Otherwise, it would sink in. So you kind of need that sort of element to make sure that your design doesn't sink in. This next one here, I kind of created a gorgeous structure with the monstera, kind of attaching it to the wires, and then kind of giving it this beautiful movement with the oncidium. And then continued with creating the structures, and I used using the eucalyptus trunk again, but I kind of did my structure a little bit lower, so it kind of gives you a smaller footprint. This line of this black line here is basically there's a wire on the inside. So I drilled into the wood, inserted a wire, and it was long enough to kind of go all the way around, and I inserted it in this side, drilled in this side, and inserted it into the trunk. And then I basically started with 2 pieces of monstera roots at a time, and kind of going around, twisting every single time I came around. I would twist with the wire on the inside, and then bring the wire outside, and then twist back in. So, but the main thing with this design was I experimented with doing 2 roots as opposed to just 1, because usually when I build these structures, I only use 1, and I found that with 2, it doesn't really compromise on the building and the finesse of the container, but it builds a lot quicker. So you can do your structures a lot quicker. And then once we got to the top, I just wanted to do like a crescent coming down on this gorgeous sculpture with the anthurium, this beautiful vine, which is in the string of hearts family, and then just a beautiful lady slipper orchid. this design, I once again used the eucalyptus trunk as my base for stability. Drilled into the wood stump, have 5 wires going straight up, and then created 4 rings with the same wire, just to give me the stability and the sturdiness. And then we started with these gorgeous banyan roots. So you kind of start at the bottom, start wiring it, and then what we decided with this structure is to make it look a lot cleaner. We started twisting the banyan root onto itself. So you get all these like sort of rope and beautiful texture all the way up. So it's a beautiful base, something that you can reuse. And then I got these amazing bromeliads. They are actually not in water because they don't need to be in water. They dry beautifully. And then inserted test tubes randomly, and kind of more of a natural kind of in and out, in and out. So you have this beautiful movement once you add the flowers. And I just love the speckled anthurium with this beautiful philodendron variegated leaf. With this creation, I created a wire structure on the inside. I kind of drilled into the eucalyptus trunk, 2 wires on either side, created a circle, and then added wires diagonally, I'd say about 10 wires, but they're about that long, just to kind of give the wire structure stability, and then kind of squished it down so it became oval, wrapped banyan root around the outside wires, just so you cover your mechanics. And then I started, and I found this gorgeous bark when we went to Greenpoint Nurseries. In their parking lot, they had these amazing trees, and the bark was literally peeling off. So I'm like, I need to do something with this amazing ironwood bark. So I decided to, and then I added it diagonally, horizontally, sorry, and kind of created basically on my own like long and narrow container with a little bit of a insert here so that we can insert test tubes. This inflorescence is from a palm. Literally when it comes out of the palm, it hasn't gotten any sunlight, so that's why it's white. It hasn't been bleached. It's a natural material, which is amazing. I just love the color, especially picks up on the bark. And then we inserted some test tubes and added these gorgeous pincushions, these beautiful orchids from Greenpoint, which we actually saw the farm, which is spectacular, the greenhouses, just to see the grouping of so much color at once. And with the alocasia leaves as well, because I love the white that brings in the white from here and then the white from the bark. And this was the final piece I created. With this piece, I used for almost most of my structures that you see the eucalyptus trunk. I used it for the weight. For this one, I kind of created a grid, like a column with the wires before I started attaching the bark. We kind of do 2 drill points and then attach you kind of do two points and then do the wire in. Make sure you attach it to your wire grid that's attached to the trunk. I have a front and a back. The back is kind of covered, but I had a couple areas where I kept open so that I can insert test tubes, so it's to insert the flowers. These Guzmania bromeliads, they're not in water because they will last, kind of knowing how the product lasts. So that's always a great thing, and that's why I do love using these bromeliads. And then these gorgeous Starlight Anthurium. I just love the speckle on it. It kind of picks up on the white on the bark. So it's a great statement piece. Gorgeous. I love the jasmine vine attached with the bark. It kind of gives that sort of as if you've seen it in nature often. So I wanted to recreate that sort of, really natural feel. If it happens in nature, it has a beautiful balance. I want to thank HFNA for inviting me to come to this gorgeous island and to present to you about these amazing products that grow on this island. It's such an incredible experience to see a lot of these elements that I love to use in a lot of my structures and actually see it in its natural state. So I'm so grateful to be here. It was such an incredible experience, and I learned so much by seeing how everything grew just for my designs, and that was an incredible experience.
Mr. Bruno, you are amazing.
Thank you.
So true.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, that was amazing. What a beautiful gallery setting at the end, out at the lawn outside of the hotel, with a beautiful background, Hawaiian background, and the beautiful product that you were able to forage and to collect and to design with. It was a beautiful gallery opening experience. Thank you so much.
It really was, and it was just such a great setting for all that the structural with all the natural. I thought it was just looked fantastic.
I was amazed with your banyan root structures. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of work. Not just to gather, but to bind it all together was
exactly
super. Okay, we have some questions from our chat room.
Okay.
Can Canadian florists order passion vine?
Yes, I ordered it at Greenpoint, and it gets the problem.
Greenpoint and I believe Pacific Floral Exchange also.
Okay. Oh, great. Good to know.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And one more question from the chat. Some people are asking, how big is the garden and how many endangered species? The garden is 17 acres, okay? 2,500 species of plants, but there's no exact number for the amount of endangered species at that location. Okay?
Excellent. Well, I have a question for Bruno. So what was your favorite item that you discovered while you were there that you didn't know existed?
I was the ironwood, the bark. I thought that, to me, it was that the weight of it was so cool and how dense it was. So it's like for when you're doing structures, when you drill into it, sometimes when I do use bark, it's too flimsy. It doesn't hold, so it breaks easily. Where I found that the ironwood bark was just so sturdy. So I really enjoyed working with that and playing, kind of experimenting with it.
And you're so brilliantly, I mean, you really basically didn't use any actually bought containers other than the vase for your bouquet. Everything else you built right from scratch to create the container, to make that the art structure, and then flowering it to make it a botanical art. It's absolutely brilliant what you've done. And so much you get done in a so short period of time. You're a whiz. You're amazing.
Have a great assistant, so he's fantastic, and he kind of knows.
Oh, Justin.
Yeah,
Justin was awesome. You guys are like machines. So I have another question. So what are these kind of containers that you build? How do you work with them into your business? How do you sell them to your client? How do you showcase them so that your botanical art becomes so much more visible and be appreciated?
Well, I kind of do a lot of these structures for my weekly corporate clients. So therefore, it's already built. So then we'll have like 4 or 5 structures in the store, and then eventually we sell them. But we use them 2 or 3 times before we actually even sell them. And it's like with these structures, it automatically changes as soon as you change the greenery that you put on and the floral, and it becomes a whole different design.
Okay. So do you have another question, Johnny? Because I have one.
I have a quick question. Bruno,
Yes, thank you.
Do you have a favorite flower?
I sure do. One of my favorite flowers is the lady slipper orchid.
Lady slipper orchid. Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, I was very happy that I was able to use some for the demonstration while I was in Hawaii.
Yeah, and then you found that beautiful Gomphoracarpus that was different than what we normally see too, the pods that went with it. I had never seen anything like that before, which was always such a eye candy when we see things we've not seen before, right?
And that's
so the other question that I have is, do you love foraging?
I do. I get excited when I go foraging and seeing something that I haven't seen before, and then it's like when I find something, and then my brain's already, as we're driving, and my brain's already starting to think, how am I going to use that product, and how can I use it, and and then kind of guides my design.
Excellent. And then, how suitable are use of Hawaiian tropicals into your work there in Toronto? How do your customers, clients, respond to your use of the mixture of tropicals and other things?
They absolutely love it, because the thing I love about it, lasting, and especially when you're most of your business is corporate, it's one of those elements that you kind of need to have on hand most of the time. Just because you definitely you send it out, you don't have to go there because the flowers have died. That they'll come back, and sometimes you get to use it more than once because they come back, and then you can resell it, and or reuse it in something else. So yeah, it's one of those things that it's very important to kind of have those long-lasting elements in your shop.
And I noticed that, on your Instagram account, you're often posting different things that you're sending to your corporate accounts and installations for home decor and things that gives everybody an idea of what can be done. And I've seen you use some of your structures more than once and look entirely different because of the way you've flowered it. And so is that sort of the strategy behind your whole idea of these botanical structures?
Exactly. It's one of those. It's creating the structure for one client, and then afterwards it comes back, and then it's like you have another opportunity or you have a last minute order, and you have something already pre-made, and you can create something really fabulous within an hour or so. So it's having these things pre-made so that it's ready to go, and then it's like, okay, I can use this.
Well, I think you have given us so much inspiration. I think it's going to have every designer out there peeling their eyes, just looking for some interesting things that they've not thought about. And I think just getting inside your head as you walk through the botanical gardens and seeing the thrill that you get from seeing the beautiful things, I think that's going to rub off on us, all of us. So thank you so very much, Bruno, for an exceptional presentation, as you always do. You are absolutely amazing. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
We just received another question from the chat. Bruno, how do you attach the bark to your structure?
I drilled through it, did a wire. I did 2 drill points and then stick the wire through, and then it attached to the wire structure that I built beforehand, and then kind of twist the wire so then it holds the bark in place.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay.
So, it's all just inspiration for all of us. So I highly recommend that everybody gets out there and really look. And I'm just wondering sometimes if the Hawaiians really sometimes recognize what they have right in their backyard. Sometimes we take things for granted, don't we?
Oh yeah, we actually took it one day when we were driving around. It was just like, I wish I could forage here. There's so many amazing things. And it's like, really, there's orchids growing on the side of the road?
Yeah, it really truly is amazing. And don't you think that through HFNA, a lot of the growers have done a great job of starting to recognize some of these wonderful material and starting to kind of listen to some of us that's out there looking at all this stuff and going wow over it and starting to bring that in their line. And I am so appreciative of them paying attention to what designers are saying and that what we would love to have. You've had that conversation with them before, Bruno?
Absolutely, and that's one of the big things. It's trying to find new things that we can have to kind of play with and kind of integrate with everything else there's already in the market. And in Hawaii, there's such an abundance of certain things that people don't even think, oh, you think you can. Because if it ships well and it lasts, it's definitely something that our florists would love to have.
So what do you wish that there's more of that's available to you as an artist, like from what you've seen? Like, what would you like to see?
Definitely a lot more of the vines, because, that gives it a lot of natural element build on it. Right, so it's like there's a lot of great things that you can do with the vines, and there's so many in Hawaii. There's such an abundance of vines there, and also the big, large leaves. That's something that we don't have here, and with having winter, that doesn't have the chance for them to grow that big. So to get the big, showy leaves, just incredible.
Well, I think you have to make another plan to go back to Hawaii and do more things because we just loved everything you did so very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Lovely.
I would love to.
Yeah. Thank you very much there, Bruno. And thank you to Justin for all his wonderful help.
Yes.